This time last year, Mojang revealed the armor trims and other previously unannounced features from 1.20. Sadly, this new preview doesn't have any of that, but what it does instead have is a big buff to wolves, as well as a bizarre admission around the armadillo. Today, I'm going to be going into every feature inside of this preview, and then as always, giving my analysis on it and what it means for 1.21, an update which still doesn't have a name and which hasn't had a brand new feature for a couple of months now. Because of the interesting thing around armadillos, let's talk about exactly what's going on here, because hello, I'm IBX Toycat, and welcome back to another update news video. 1.20.70 is a brand new beta version. It will be for an update coming out presumably around March or April, and it includes two major halves of this update. One of those halves is basically new things for further away updates, experimental changes, and the other half are things that you can expect to come to the game much sooner. What exactly does that include? Well, I'm glad you've asked. Let's go into all of those changes today. First things first, they have changed the item IDs for leafs, wooden slabs, and double wooden slabs to be their own separate ID. And what this means, if you play around with commands and you want to give yourself something or you want to fill something, you will now notice that the ID for, say, leafs is not just leafs and leafs too. It's acacia leafs and azalea leafs and birch leafs and dark oak leafs and jungle leafs and mangrove leafs. This is in general a very good change, I think. What I also think is a good change, if you like to mess around with people, is that the sweet berry bush sapling, the stage 1 of its growth, will now slow down players who choose to walk through it. This is a very interesting one, because usually you look at this and you think, yeah, one day that might be a sweet berry bush, but right now, even though it won't hurt you like a sweet berry bush, it will still slow you down, which is, again, absolutely fascinating to me. There is a change around the Riptide Tridents, which now means the upward player motion will reset full damage. This will make a very big difference, but we'll have to come back to that later if we had a Riptide Trident. The globe banner pattern on a shield will now match Java. This is a parity change. Basically, a banner pattern and a shield banner pattern can never line up perfectly because a shield has less space, but now the way that the globe pattern works is closer to parity between versions, and it looks roughly the same as it would on Java. A nice improvement, some would say, but a much more significant improvement might be the fact that a significant number of different blocks now have the correct sound when entities fall onto them. We'll scroll through the list of those on screen right now, because there are a lot of different blocks that they're slowly working on bringing parity between. This is an important thing to do, and it takes a lot of effort, but I'm glad they're slowly doing it. But what I also am glad they're doing is buffing wolf armor. This now gives more protection to match Java, so they can now withstand creeper explosions, and tame wolves will have double as much health without any armor, and health restored from feeding has also doubled. So to show you this right here, here is my wolf. He's a baby wolf, never mind. But here is my baby wolf. He's very cute, I think we all agree. He will have double as much health by default now, meaning that wolf armor becomes even less, required, I guess you could say. They have some changes for wolf armor itself behind experimental, but this is everything that's not experimental, and it's very good. We also have text no longer appearing in the creative inventory search bar after being cleared using X. This is the feature where you can search creative or your crafting inventory for, say, I'm looking for a seagull. I'm pretty sure you can craft those in Minecraft. I don't know what the recipe would be, but I'm sure it's in here somewhere. And now if you leave this and you hit the X, it's not going to be saved there and come back. It's so annoying to me, because I'll often pull up the inventory, which is E, while I'm trying to accidentally, like, say, press D on a keyboard. It's so annoying to have this be filled with that and then not be able to go away. So it's nice just to make it all be gone. Thank you, OMG, as Harrison puts it here. We also have players now being able to speed bridge over water. This is a change on the changelog, which sounds like so the way it sounds on the changelog is that you'll be able to now place blocks like this over water, and they'll fix the annoying bug where it sometimes places blocks underwater, even though you're clearly trying to bridge out in front of you. But what this is actually about, if you check the bug fix, is it's about speed bridging. So if you go of the jingly jangly block and you want to really speed bridge, like people like to do in Skywars, then you'll be able to do that. And yeah, it's one of those talents I've never picked up, to be totally honest with you. But in Bedrock, you can do insane bridging that's like almost Fortnite levels. However, that has been fixed if you're over water. A bizarre but interesting admission. And to come back to the Riptide Trident, the way Riptide Tridents now work, or have always worked, is that while you're in water, you can use these to get a big boost, right? And you can use this to do some serious damage if you feel like it. It's one of my favorite ways to kill something, personally. But yeah, now if you are in the sky, let's say, and you throw a Riptide Trident, your upward forwards momentum will reset. This doesn't make a difference when you're falling into water, which is where most people would make use of it, because when you're falling into water, it doesn't matter how much full damage you have built up on you, but where this does make a huge difference, if it was say, imagine it was raining somewhere, then if you were to fly into the sky and almost fall to the ground and die, you can now reset that full damage by launching yourself into the sky. This means that if you want, you can hover somewhat over the ground without having to worry about the fact that you'll immediately die from all of your built up full damage. Taking only 8.5 damage from that full is actually a big improvement over basically guaranteed death if you did that over a sustained period of time. By the way, pro tip, if it's raining, this is one of the fastest ways to travel. With or without an Elytra, it's definitely better with, but you can do it without too. You just gotta really chain together your things and try and land over water if you can. Oops. Before I leave the Riptide Trident behind, I want to give you one really useful fact. The Riptide Trident seems as though it works about once every 2 seconds or so, because there's this cooldown animation between when you throw it and when it comes back to your hand like this, and when it looks like you can start the next pull cycle like this. However, a fun fact about it is that animation is irrelevant to the actual cooldown time. The moment you've thrown it, you can do another one. So this is the speed Minecraft convinces you have to go. However, in reality, the moment you've thrown it, you can start the next one, which means you can chain these together and go very, very high or very, very horizontal if you want to. You are the king of your own domain at this point, and it's very, very fun that you can choose to do it this way, but you might die. Speaking of wanting to die, that might be what you want to do when you learn about what's in this new preview as far as experimental features and changes go. So keep in mind that when Minecraft releases a preview, 1.20.70 let's say, part of that update, the part we've shown you so far, is what's going to be coming out for the public, and the other half are things that are just kind of piggybacking onto that and are locked behind experimental toggles, which means they're not going to be part of that update. And so obviously update 1.21 is coming out after 1.20.70, it's a whole different update title, but interestingly, as well as making changes to the Breeze, where they made his charge texture a bit more dynamic, the model as a whole too, I think it's a nicer looking model, let me know what you think. They've also made some changes to the wolf and dog and wolf armor, so collars are now larger to make them visible from more angles, as well as a new item model and texture. A lot of people are sad about the change, doesn't look like a liver anymore, you might say. I personally do think it's a slightly better model, let me know what you think, but we also have changes to the armadillo, which are really, really huge. But before I mention those armadillo changes, it's worth mentioning that if these were to come in 1.20.70, the base update, and not something later, you would expect them to not be locked behind experimental. We have proof from a Java developer that the Slice Lime specifically said that the armadillo is not a 1.21 feature, but instead a 1.20.5 feature for Java. And so basically 1.20.5 could release anytime. Their snapshot and sub-update cycle is very confusing. They had 2 in the span of 2 days last year, so that means that we don't know when the armadillos are coming out, but if they're not in the regular version of the preview and instead they're locked behind experimental, that's bad news. And so with 1.20.70, they had the ability to move them out from their own toggle, and they haven't done so yet. This means that even though this update, we've still got 1.20.60, which is coming out probably in the next couple of weeks, that's going to be early February, that's going to be coming out, and then the update after that, 1.20.70, also looks like it won't contain the armadillo and the wolf armor, which means probably 1.20.80 unless something changes, which is more like May or June sort of time. So even though armadillos and wolf armor are coming out before 1.21, it's probably only going to be a month or two before. We'll talk more about that theory after I mention what has changed with the armadillos, because I think this is a really great change. It happened on the Java edition while I was on my January trip, but now that I'm back, I can tell you they'll spawn in Badlands biomes. They seem like they'd be a good fit, right? They also can scare spiders and cave spiders, because as we all know, they eat spider eyes for food, so that means that they'll eat spiders for food. They won't actually, they'll just terrify them. It's kind of like cats and creepers. I think that's a really cute little addition to them, and it means that even the most cynical player might find some weird niche value in them. They're also more resistant to damage when rolled up, and they roll up when attacked instead of panicking, just like this. I think this is a cute little change, and I do quite like it. I do like that the armadillo, I think every mob that Minecraft adds, they put a lot of extra work in. Like, most people just just see this as, yeah, you can brush them and you get the wolf armor. That's what 99% of players will get from it, but it's nice that they have these little extra features built in, or maybe you could say it's not nice. That might be an argument for a different video, but for now, I want to say that, yeah, the Armadillo wolf armor have had some nice improvements. This is one of the value points of them going through these betas and having the public have their say, because it means that they can make better wolf armor or better armadillos. But you know what? I think at this point, it's worth talking a bit about 1.21, because no matter what you think about the 1.21 features that have been revealed so far and the great refinements that they're making, I really like the trial chambers, and honestly, the armadillo is starting to grow on me a little bit. I know it's crazy, but no matter what you think about the features so far, there is definitely more to come, at least for them to meet their previously stated theme of, which, to be fair, isn't the title of the update, but it is the vibe they were going for, and they've done a great job on combat adventures. It's not clearly finished. I think the Trial Chambers is just a little rough around the edges. The Trial Key could do a bit of work too. However, even though this is clearly not perfectly done, when it comes to tinkering, what do we actually have? I think you could clearly say that we have the, we have the crafter, that's useful, and the copper bulb is technically tinkering, but unless you mean tinkering to be, yeah, you could make new tough blocks and copper blocks, there isn't really a lot of that going on either. And so I do believe that in the same way they did 1.20, they were onto a winning formula, at least on the Mojang side of things, because it means that they can come back from the winter break and kind of go at it fresh with their new set of ideas. Armor trims were a really fun thing when they were announced last year. The new cherry tree was loved because of this short delay between announcement and showing, and so I believe that's what they're going to do this year. I think it would be insane to imagine that they've got 4 months of development yet, and all it's going to be used for is just slowly polishing existing features. The only question is, when are they going to announce those features and how many will there be? It could be just one tinkering change and then they're gonna get things out soon. It could be quite a few tinkering changes. It could be things unrelated to combat adventures or tinkering. If they want to, Minecraft updates do pretty well when they go kind of broad and they add things that are good regardless of the theme while still having those main core theme features. And so how could they do that while still having very popular features? I think there's one easy answer. It's the fletching table. It's been 4 years, Mojang. You need to do something with the fletching table, but more seriously, I do think looking at the current set of features, this is a pretty exciting update on a lot of levels. I do think that 1.21 will be a fun time. I don't think it's going to be revolutionary yet. Can they change that with the next features is the question that I would like to know the answer to. Or the only thing I can say for sure with regards to analysis is that so far 1.21 is definitely teasing us by saying, okay, soon you'll get the big thing you're waiting for. Soon this next thing will happen. When will that be? We don't know. What will it be? We don't know. But I would guess, based on 1.20 being just over a year ago, it's a year in like 3 days as I record this video, I think that they're probably planning and putting together those features and maybe even those fun press releases right now. It could also be that they're planning to release this update in a smaller form at an earlier time. I think my theory used to be that this update was going to come out in May of this year because May is the 15th anniversary of Minecraft. However, I've been realizing that when Minecraft does big events, they rarely tie it into their updates, and so given that the Armadillo has probably been pushed from 1.20.60 to 1.20.70 and now 1.20.80, maybe that means they're going to release the Armadillo to celebrate their 15-year anniversary, and this update might be coming out in June or maybe even July or August time, giving them more time to focus on combat adventures and tinkering. That is what I personally am believing at this point, but we'll have to wait and see with Mojang. I'll keep you up to date with the latest news on this channel. Wait, that's not actually everything we have to date. There is a really intriguing tweet from King B Dogs, the same person who did originally share the armor trims being worked on, who said that you should maybe keep your eyes peeled for Minecraft Monthly tomorrow. This is a very heavy implication that we might get a name reveal or a feature reveal of 1.21 as soon as tomorrow, and so it's very fun. I was just talking about it, but it looks like we have a very heavy hint that it's going to happen. I'm looking forward to that, and I will let you know if there is anything exciting, but I'll also let you know how my walk goes, because I'm gonna go right now. I literally was about to walk out the door when this happened, so yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I'm going to go for a walk for pancakes, because the idea is it's a nice day, get a walk in, use the calories burned to go eat some very indulgent food, and I'll let you know how those pancakes are on Twitter. I'll also let you know what's involved with this on Twitter. Follow @BXToyCat for the latest news, or subscribe here on this channel for the latest and greatest in what's happening in Minecraft, because I'm excited, and you should be too. I also shouldn't wear green, but that's a problem for another day. Bye.